Welcome back to Nightmare Creatures. We just saw the fire beginning last time, but it's already engulfed Pimlico here. It's crumbling to the ground, and it gives the developers opportunities for changing up the level design a little bit. Frankly, it makes it a lot more confusing, but we'll get used to it. I've at least sorted it out. Our new combo is sort of the opposite of Feet of Fury, the combo we've been relying on the whole game. There it is. The only unique part is the last two hits of it, but they do massive damage. Nothing else would kill a Hellhound that quickly. Besides dismemberment, of course. Oh, and here's a exciting new gimmick. A door you have to hit twice. Wow. They're pulling out all the stops. Just for the sake of showing it off, Hellhounds do survive a bullet. But if you do it point blank, then the Hellhound's head will just fly clean off. I think it might do double damage because it's too close. Whatever the reason, it's dramatically more effective, and that's what I should have done. Gun is just about the only thing I have an excess of on Nadia, though. So I will use them as necessary to preserve my health, because that is dwindling rapidly. So we're doubling back the way we came, pretty much, to go to a secret area. I want to start off by destroying these barrels, which blows up a passage that is completely invisible on the video, because this level is way too dark. I only know it's here because on the N64 version, this area is much brighter. Ironic that the N64 started out much too dark in general. Now it's our key to victory. Everywhere we go, there's going to be more fires and ambushes. And the controls and camera in this game make it disturbingly easy to just wander into flames, where you will rapidly burn to death. It's an unfair way to lose our precious hearts. Towards the end of the game here, the PlayStation version is quite difficult. We've really hit the point that I feared when I started the Let's Play, where we are almost out of recovery items, and the game becomes way too difficult to tolerate. Did see one prison cell with a hanging corpse inside. Paints a disturbing picture of just what went down when the plague hit the prison. It's worth noting that the subtle changes between the N64 and PlayStation versions on their own amount to very little, but by the end of the game here, they really go a long way towards preventing the death of 1,000 cuts that Nadia is suffering right now. Almost a little bit too much. On the N64, I no longer have to worry about anything. Ignatius is virtually unkillable. In a lot of ways, it's a sloppy overcompensation for the problems we're seeing here, where small mistakes made throughout the game have huge repercussions towards the end. It's one of the main reasons that the elimination of lives as a mechanic in video games has been to the benefit of gaming in general, because they just serve to artificially increase difficulty, which game devs used to be able to use as a cheap alternative to improving their gameplay. Nightmare Creatures has the advantage of, at the time, having no real action games to compete against, and the action game formula was far from figured out, so They were forging a path somewhat. They've got their excuses. So that staircase with the rolling barrels from a second ago was actually a branching path in the level, which leads to the broken bridge that we just crossed underneath. Wasn't very clear that it was broken from this angle, but we'll get a better look at it later. This level splits in some very awkward ways. There's honestly no reason to follow both paths all the way through. There's no real items to pick up in this area. But there's plenty to see. What we can see of it through the darkness. The high time combo is actually excellent for dealing with the Hellhounds. They're not as good at dodging or defending themselves as most of the other enemies. And their primary attack of breathing fire does not interrupt your attacks, which was the main reason we couldn't use the high time on most other enemies. Plus it has the attack arc that actually hits the damn things, since they're half the height of most of the other enemies. With a little luck, deals with them very quickly. Hard to find your way around here. Like I said, very bizarre layout. But past this gate is a spider nest. Had we collected the third upgrade like Ignatius did, we'd be able to spin attack them for instant kills, but the Bloody Ballerina does the job. There's the second human corpse of the level, which honestly shows a lot of restraint on the part of the developers, not throwing in all kinds of gore for the sake of horror. Guess they got their fill earlier in the game. Despite all appearances, we are supposed to be in a prison right now. And at this point in history, there was a prison located in Pimlico. It was called the Millbank Prison, and it was originally intended to be the first ever panopticon. If you're not familiar, a panopticon is a prison designed so that one guard can sit in one location and see every cell at the same time. You could sort of think of it as the Pimlico Penitentiary Panopticon project, but there were problems with the presentation, and the pernicious Parliament sought to produce a more practical and less preposterous prison. You can probably tell that I've started rewatching BoJack Horseman lately. So something happened right there that caused a sound glitch that's going to persist for the rest of the level. I believe it was because the one docker's death sound coincided with the other dockers breaking down a barrier sound. But occasionally some sounds will just drop out for the rest of the level. There is a particularly egregious example of what I'm talking about. That's not the only glitch I experienced, though. As you can see, some of those flames have turned into missing nose. Yeah, the reality's sort of breaking down. These are fairly uncommon glitches. I had never experienced them before this recording. But right now, everything's a bit of a mess. It's not that bad, though, and I sort of wanted to show it off. The main advantage of the PlayStation version is that the atmosphere is dramatically better than it was on the N64, but there are occasional issues that they cleaned up when they ported the game. So this right here, which we've just leapt off of, is the broken bridge I mentioned a few minutes ago. We have backtracked through the alternate path that contains fewer enemies but a few platforming challenges. So if you prefer those to the combat in this game, that's a safer way to get to the end of this level. And frankly, it is the easier route. It can be pretty easy to get turned around towards the end of the level here, accidentally start backtracking. But I'm not going to do that. Done enough backtracking, and this is indeed the end of the level. So let's get the hell out of here before anything else breaks.
The end is nigh. The rest is silence. Prepare to die.
What, in Spitalfield, you broken record? He's got a bit of a plan for us, though, in the form of Nadia's first boss fight. Here is Jose Manuel, not Manuel. And this is what he does. Stands on a single platform and hucks knives. All we can do about it is hit the switch, which summons a zombie and opens up the other switch. So we gotta cross the room, across the fiery pit, hit that, and reveal that our foe is standing in the middle of an Iron Maiden. And he's not gonna move. He's just gonna keep throwing those knives. Then we repeat the process. And it's actually fairly difficult here on the PlayStation version. If you get hit with one of those knives while you're trying to cross the room, you will almost certainly die. You will probably get knocked into the fire pit, which is an instant death. If he kills you with damage and knocks your corpse into the fire pit, you'll respawn in the fire pit and lose a second life. With our current life count, this is very, very dangerous. Also, the zombies he summons are a total waste of time. Do not appear on the N64 version. And they're immune to all items, and deal a lot more damage than normal zombies. It's dangerous, but he's dead now, and I kind of enjoyed the boss fight. It's by far the best in the game. It's very silly, and it has a very weak gimmick, but it clears a low bar. And the game will go on to call Jose the Ripper, so good on us. We prevented the Jack the Ripper killings, which would have occurred 54 years in the future had we not.